Have you lost the power and choice of drink or drug? Do you have an utter inability to leave it alone no matter how great the necessity or wish? Do you need to leave it alone? Your life depends on it, your kids' lives depend on it, your job depends on it, or you really wish to, but you can't? Then only a spiritual experience will conquer this. When we became alcoholics, crushed by self-imposed crisis, we could not postpone or evade. When I got here, I couldn't postpone or evade it anymore. I was crushed by the self-imposed crisis of addiction. And I tried to postpone and evade it, and I made it for a while until I was backed into a corner and I had to go, okay. And that's the exact same thing with my defects of character. We had to fearlessly face the proposition that either this God thing is everything or is nothing. Either God is or he isn't. What is our choice to be? And it's like building that motor that doesn't run right. It might run and it might putt you along for a few years, and you might even get a little bit of sobriety out of it, but you're not going to get the benefits. You're not going to be leveling up, launching into this fourth dimension. There's a line in step 7 that says, to be willing to work for humility takes most of us a long time. If you don't follow the directions, it takes a long time. But if you follow the directions, it doesn't have to take a long time. You're seeking humility is something to be desired. That's what the directions are designed to do. There's like something happening, and it's not just staying sober. Like, you ask these people what's fucking happening in their life, and things are really changing, and it comes from the inside. And then that ripples to their family and their relationships. And to me, this decision we're going to make tonight in step 3 is a vital, means giving of life. Like, I really start living and understanding, walking hand in hand with God. And I start understanding way more of what the fuck we're talking about. And life gets really good. The alcohol and the bottle and the drugs is just a symptom. I have to get down to causes and conditions. The alcohol and the drugs isn't really the problem. It's actually a solution to my problem. And it's always been a solution to my problems. Well, when my solution to my problems quits working, then I'm fucked. And the solution to my problems quits working. And then I'm in this zone where I don't know what to do. I'm baffled. What does baffled mean? It means an utter inability to leave it alone, no matter how great the necessity or wish. I don't know what to do. I'm controlled. So again, this book isn't about not drinking. The stories in the back are not about not drinking. The stories in the book are about building a relationship with this power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. The first problem is the substance. The real problem is selfish self-centeredness. And we start seeing the truth in that. We start letting shit go. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. So I start leveling up. I start feeling really good. I start feeling who I actually am. And I don't need your outside opinions to tell me who I am anymore. And I see many people change when you're willing to start thinking with your heart. But it's not easy. It takes clearing the channel. There has been a revolutionary change in their way of living and thinking. So there's a revolutionary change in the way that you live and think. And I like how he put the word living first, because living means action, doing. I got to do the action, and then it changes my thinking. Action always first. It's an action program. You can't fucking think yourself into good living, but you can live your way into good thinking. In the face of collapse and despair. So as I came in here, as Tommy came in here, in the face of collapse and despair and brokenness, beaten to a pulp, in the face of total failure of their human resources, they found that new power, peace, and happiness and sense of direction flowed into us. When did this happen? This happened soon after they wholeheartedly met a few simple requirements contained in the actions of this book. Once confused and baffled by the seeming futility of existence. Yeah, I was confused and baffled. I didn't know what the fuck this was about. And I burnt it all down because I couldn't stop the spiritual malady. And then I couldn't stop using. But I need to stop the spiritual malady or I will be confused and baffled again. So what we're talking about is changing your mind and being open-minded to believe something different. Because we're not always right with the ideas that we have, that the ingrained in belief systems that we've been taught or that we've manufactured. And most of our own ideas aren't even ours anyway. They've been ingrained in us since we were kids. And we think that these are our thoughts, but they're not. The only way that I work with money is the way that I've always worked with money. I need to try something new. The way that I work with a relationship is the way that I've always worked with relationships. But I need to try something new. And when I get to the point where I'm willing to try something new, then things change. So I'm driven by all these subtle ideas, emotions, and attitudes that have been the guiding forces of my life. And I didn't even come up with most of the ideas. But I come up with some of the emotions based on the external conditions around me. And I drive my life this way. And with an alcoholic, if we keep driving our life on these old ideas, emotions, and attitudes, like in There's a Solution, Roland Hazard's story, I will pick up a drink because that's the only way I can get relief from this thing. I need a psychic change. I need a profound alteration of my way of living and thinking. And at first, it's just because I don't want to drink. But then after a while, it's because, fuck, this is the way to go. I start getting some hope. I see these people, they're talking to me, they're relating to me, and they're giving me hope. It's bringing luster to my tired eyes and courage to my flagging spirits. Recovery, the process of becoming well again after an injury or illness. So I have an illness here, all right? It's called a spiritual malady. And I can recover from that on a daily basis. But I cannot stay recovered on yesterday's recovery. If I rest on my laurels of yesterday's recovery as an alcoholic addict, I am headed for fucking trouble, especially in my first year. So recovery is actually, here's a program of recovery. This doesn't mean just from a substance, okay? Yeah, I'm physically ill, but I have a spiritual malady. It's the most important part of this. And I can stay recovered from the illness of spiritual malady, but I do this continually. I follow the rituals, the directions, the ritual. What is ritual? Spiritual. You follow enough rituals, directions, rituals, you become spiritual. And then as you keep doing this, life kicks you in the ass, and then you're just doing rituals again. And then what happens? It becomes spiritual again. And then it just gets better and it grows and it grows and it gets grooved in your life. And then once you get up to higher levels of consciousness, you don't ever want to come down. You don't want to feel anxiety. You don't want to feel resentment. You don't want to feel these lower level things. So you constantly want to just keep doing the things that make you not feel like that. Service, prayer, meditation, whatever, taking people through the book, going to meetings, sharing the message, getting out of self. Like there's a multitude of things that I do, so I don't have to feel those feelings anymore. I don't want to feel them. And when I do feel them, what is it? It's an actual sign that says, dude, something's wrong with you. When I'm resentful at something outside of me or I'm blaming, pointing my finger, I got to stop and go, dude, the problem's not out there. The problem's within you. Now let's look at it. Inventory, prayer, meditation, talking to pillars. They're able to see shit that I can't see because I'm stuck in my own self. And I will never see self from self. This is it. It's the subtle shit. And you can't see self with self. And we just believe we're certain types of people. But when you look at the facts and the four, you start seeing, holy shit, I thought I was this guy, but the facts are telling me I'm someone else. And then we start to change and see things from a different perspective. We miss the reality and the beauty of the forest because we were diverted by the ugliness of some of its trees. How many times have you judged somebody in your life and really fucking negatively judged somebody that you didn't really know, but you thought you knew them because you know their type? And then you go and talk to them and you're like, holy fuck, what an awesome person. Like that's what we're talking about. And you can start relinquishing self and understanding self and grow and level up. And that's what this is about. Then you won't want to drink. then you don't need a solution to yourself, because the solution lies within the relationship with this, whatever the higher power is to you. And then it grows and it grows. And then you start living a way different and better life, not based on a foundation of self, based on a foundation of the cornerstone of God, creator, him, her, whatever. You must find God now, because you don't have time. What if tomorrow's your last chance? What if tonight's your last relapse? Like, we don't know. And I don't know if everyone here understands the true predicament and watching death, like live action, watching people die. And when you're in a position like I am and you're kind of involved and you see a lot of this shit, you see people die like every day. And I know if I asked everyone, if you all knew somebody who died of this disease, every one of you would put your hand up. And if I asked some of you or all of you, if you knew 5 people that have died, you'd probably put your hand up too. Because that's just the nature of this shit. You must find God now, it says. Bill W. himself wrote it like that. He ain't fucking around. There is no easier, softer way for the real deal alcohol. Maybe for the heavy drinker, the moderate drinker, there is. But there isn't anymore for the real deal alcoholic. Like, I know for me, I don't fuck around with this shit. And the result is I have a good recovery. When it's 7:30 at night and I know I'm supposed to be at God Wanted at a meeting, I fucking get my ass up, no matter how tired I am, and I go there and I share the message of strength and hope, and I'm always lit up. True knowledge comes from open-mindedness. And true knowledge will eventually come to a point where you're like, actually, I don't know fucking anything. And when you get to the point where you're in your new recovery, people that go through the steps at first, and they start doing this work, and they get to a point where it's like 3 months in, maybe 6 months in, or 8 months in, they're so mind-fucked because everything that they've been doing their whole life is all getting shattered, and they don't even know who they are. But the pain of not knowing who you are is so scary. And people cry for no reason, and they don't know what's happening. And then I say to them, you know what? You're perfect. You're perfectly at a great place. You're at ground zero. And even though it feels like hell, that's part of the process. And we need to get to this place where we don't know anything. Everything you thought you knew is fucking getting twisted and turned around. And something new is happening, and God is building with you and doing with you as he will. And we're not talking about a theoretical relationship, the idea of God, a prayer here and a prayer there, and yeah, I do believe in something. We're talking about practical, pragmatic action that allows us to connect with this thing. And a lot of this thing that's maybe out there, it's actually in here too. But in some form or another, it is there. For faith in a power greater than ourselves and miraculous demonstrations of that power in human life are as facts as old as man himself. We finally saw that faith in some kind of God was part of our makeup. Yeah, because it's the fundamental idea of God, which is love. Where does love come from? It comes from my fucking heart. What is my heart? Is the shit that I see that drives my life, that actually makes life worth living, why I want to go to work. But I've covered it up with all this other shit. Resentments, fear, discontentment, ideas, belief systems. And it's there. It's part of me. It's in me. It's right here on the left side. Just as much as the feeling we have for a friend. Sometimes we have to search fearlessly. It's what the work helps. It helps clear it out. Searching fearlessly. But he is there. He was as much as a fact as we were. We found the great reality, the real reality. They call out there the real world. Where's the real world? Real world is right fucking here. The real world is in the rooms where we can talk about our truth and our honesty and love and kindness. Out there is a world of masks. Because I need you to think who I am. I need you to tell me who you think I am. And I need to live up to that. And what masks do I play? I play all sorts of masks. But coming with Creator, I start playing the role that he assigns me. The great reality deep down within us, in the last analysis, it was in the last place I ever looked. It is only there that he may be found. It was so within us. I spent my whole life looking for this thing when it was always in me. And I tried to fulfill everything from outside of me to fill this in me. And it never worked. The fundamental idea of God is love.